How do I get through Christmas without him? This is a question I've asked myself over and over and over again. And if you're here, I imagine you've asked yourself that question too. This is my first Christmas without the love of my life. In 40 years, we've always been together for Christmas. It's my favorite time of the year. And every year was a little bit different. We had traditions, and we had things that we did every year, but as the family grew and grandbabies came, some years were big and bustling and chaotic, and some years were quiet. Last year was probably our quietest Christmas ever. We were traveling and decided to uh, stay down in, well, South Texas. Um, and because our plans had shifted, we had none of our Christmas decor with us on board. And so we had just a couple little random things. One was a little felted nativity set, and one was a book page out of a children's book, both very Christ-centered. And that's pretty much all we had. And those just had, for, God reasons, right? Why they happened to land on board with us and everything else got left behind. And it was a very, very non-traditional, by our stands, Christmas. We were on the beach and it didn't feel like Christmas in a lot of ways. And I remember feeling a little bit lost, missing family, having a hard time, um, wishing I had all my Christmas decor to make it feel more Christmassy. Um, but we had a great time. There was a major storm came in and the campground got flooded, and I ended up standing in water up to my ankles, uh, grilling steaks on our Blackstone. And but we just had a good time together, and it was quiet, and we didn't even exchange gifts. It was just a day together, and I'll always cherish that. And ironically, we thought we would be back on the beach, on a different beach this year. That was our original plan, but that was not to be. So I've just, I have all my decor, and I've tried to pull it out, and I've tried to decorate, pulled a few things out. And even though I'm here with family, and I know in all the ways it's going to feel like Christmas when Christmas gets here, with the ham dinner and It just feels very empty without him. We went to see lights, and my daughter was checking in on me, and she said, how are you doing? And I'm like, are you doing okay? And I'm like, well, this is about as jolly as I'm gonna get. It's like, I'm here. Um, and I was going through photos, and I found a photo from me from a couple years ago in a Santa hat and, Christmas earrings and a little elf perched on my shoulder and a shirt that says Jolly. And, I know it was a photo that was taken in my shop, for probably some promo thing I was doing. And I've, I've put on the festive earrings, and try as I might, I just can't muster up that inner Jolly this year. And I've decided that that's okay, that I'm okay with that. So for me this year, Christmas is a little quieter in that sense. And I have this one sign. It's just a very simple, and it was a very lightweight sign. And that was one of the reasons I ended up keeping it for travel, But it says comfort and joy. And I've just always really, no matter how much decor I've put out in my homes, whenever my eyes rest on that sign, it just brings me a sense of calm. And so that's kind of been my focus in this season of busy and, all the leading up to Christmas, is trying to find things that bring me comfort and joy, that it doesn't have to look like Christmas is past. And it doesn't mean it's going to look like this forever, but so, I've found little things. Um, I try to eat healthy, but I've allowed myself indulgences in comfort foods. Um, One of the first things I did a couple months ago is I bought a pair of cozy flannel pajamas, really soft and cozy. Um, I haven't worn pajamas in a lot of years because hubby wasn't a fan, and it was kind of one of those little things I did for me. I was like, well, I can wear cozy pajamas now, and so I have some cozy pajamas. And since I'm not traveling, I'm sitting still. I've pulled out um, this little cubby behind me. This is one of my favorite pieces. Um, it's kind of housed my collection of tiny treasures. I've always had a thing for little tiny things. A few of them go back all the way to my childhood that I've had, things I've found over the years. A lot of them I've found, throughout the years we had the shop. And it's ever evolving. I rearrange and stack and fit new things in, and haven't bought any new little treasures in a long time. But this was one of those things that I did save when we downsized, and it went into storage. And it was one of those things I decided, what, that this piece brings me a lot of joy, and it's not something I could travel with, obviously, because that would be a lot of work packing that up all the time. But so I brought that in, and I'm curious, you know, By the way, if you're brand new here, my name is Patty, and I lost my husband 3 months ago. And so, if you've lost someone, if you're walking through a loss, or um, just still something that never goes away, so um, whatever season you're in, um, welcome. And if you're returning, thank you so much for coming back. I appreciate that. I'm still trying to kind of find my way, what this channel exactly looks like, and obviously walking through this season of grief. So I thank you so much for being here. And I would love to know uh, if this is your first Christmas season of losing someone. I would love to know in the comments. And I think one of the things I've been trying to think about is the good memories. Memories are like a bittersweet thing, because I'm so grateful that I have them. They remind me of what a long and full and rich and wonderful life we've had together. But they also are a painful reminder of what is gone, what I don't have now. I'm just left with those memories. And I'm sure you can relate to that. But I have been trying to think about, the sweet memories, the things that would bring me joy. One of the most precious gifts that my husband left me and has given me I have pictures, mostly from our travels, and he had this innate ability to look right into that camera, right into my soul, and smile. He lived with intense chronic pain. But he was able to get up and show up and smile for me every single day. And more than that, he made me laugh. It was one of the first things that attracted me to him. I mean, that's a story for another day, but it wasn't what I first noticed about him, but it was one of the early things that he made me laugh. And he's made me laugh for over 42 years now. And in this last year, I mean, retirement, heading into retirement was a very bumpy road for me. And he just, I mean, he needed it. And he was ready for it. But it was a bumpy road for me. And so I was always very serious and always very worried about this, worried about that. And that man went to great lengths to make me laugh basically every day. I mean, he always did something. Smile at the very least. I'm so grateful for that. I'm so grateful that he left me with that. But more than that, I think it's the lesson behind it. when you're close to something, it's right in front of you, you don't always see it. And then when you look back, you do. It kind of, you get clarity. And it's like he understood that his days were numbered. And even though he couldn't do all the things that he wanted to do, he made every single day count. And the gifts that he gave, not only to me, but to our family when he was with them, the conversations, just the sweet memories. And so I try to hang on to those things. Um, and I pray you have those things to cling to. Um, it's hard. It's hard because, Christmas is all about family and togetherness and tradition and memories. It's the time of year that we all kind of take a collective pause. But for me this year, the comfort and joy is really what I've been trying to lean into. God's comfort, of course, relying on that strength that while I don't feel joyful, I do have joy because I know my husband's not in pain anymore. He's not the one that's here having to grapple with loss and all that entails, because it's so much deeper than just the loss of that person. It's the loss of your future, your plans, your dreams. And, we've always said, well, he always told me that I wasn't allowed to die first. And we've always said that he wouldn't have been able to cope. But I just want you to know that wherever you're at and whatever, I'm so thankful. First of all, I have a family that is so full of grace. They have not put expectations on me at all. I say they give me the space, but they also always include me. But it's no big deal if I just can't, because some days I just can't, Some days you just can't. It's a roller coaster. I've kind of learned when I hit a couple days where I start feeling like, okay, I can breathe a little bit and I can move. Then I have another day that hits me sideways. Today's kind of hit me a little bit. It just kind of, and I can't even always tell you why. It's never anything specific. Just all of a sudden, like, my mood shifts and it's a battle to hold it together. And so I'm grateful for that I don't feel compelled to be whatever. But they're walking through their own losses. And that's the, gosh, it's the bitch of it. As a mom, you've always been the one to show up and to hold their hand and to walk them through the hard stuff. And I try. But most of the time they're holding my hand and walking me through. Don't be afraid to let those tears flow. Tears are cleansing. Don't hold it in. Let it out. Be angry when you need to be angry. Be sad when you need to be sad. But let yourself have joy in little moments. Whatever it is for you, find those little things that will bring you some joy, a moment of light at the end of the tunnel. I've never lost, obviously, I've never lost a spouse before. Well, I shouldn't say obviously, but in my case, like, I married once, and so I've never walked this road before, but I have lost parents and in-laws, in-law parents, grandparents. And I think the grief is different for every relationship. But I do know that while grief never goes away fully, it does get easier. And that's, the hope that I hold on to. So many things my viewpoint right now is like, I know I'm looking through a lens of grief. So I'm trying not to make long-term decisions. I'm trying to just recognize this is this season. And this is what I need to get through this season. Maybe next Christmas I'll feel different. And maybe I won't. Maybe it'll be forever different. But the grief, I do know that. And I just know from being able to have some days where I can see life without him, in between the days that I can't see life without him. But I feel like God's giving me little glimpses of, because I know my story's not over and yours is not either. God still has a story that he wants to tell through our lives of his love and his grace and his forgiveness and his mercy. And that's part of the reason why I'm choosing to be transparent about this, for my kids, for my grandkids, future generations, but for others that are walking this same road. And then one other thing I wanted to say is, wherever you're at in your grief journey, in your grieving, trust that you are exactly where you need to be right now. There is no set timeline. There are no set rules. I mean, I've heard other widows share things that they've done or they're doing to cope that to me is like unfathomable. But I don't judge them. I have my husband's toothbrush still sitting next to our sink, next to mine. And I don't know when I've been able to go through his clothes. Not 100%. But I've been able to go through some things. Mostly because I just really want I don't want them to be wasted just sitting in a drawer or hanging in a closet when I know that there's other people that could use them, other men that could use them. But I haven't been able to do that 100%. But I just couldn't get rid of his toothbrush. And I know it's stupid. I know he's not coming back. I know he'll never use it again. I'm not going to use it. I have my own toothbrush. But for whatever reason, it gives me a measure of comfort. It just being there. It just feels like it's supposed to be there. And maybe the day will come that I don't feel that anymore. Maybe it won't. I don't know. Maybe I'll be picking cobwebs out of it 2 years from now. But my point is, trust your instincts. You know you. You know your relationship. You know what you need to get through this season. And it's your timeline. And don't let yourself just go down into a hermit hole and stay there. But some days you need to retreat. If you need to retreat to that hermit hole, do it. Just don't stay there. Take your time. There is no rush. There's no rush. So, what do we got? We got like, what, a week and a half? I don't even know. I know Christmas is coming. But I'm praying for you. And we'll get through this. We will. It's a hard season. It's a hard season. One verse that has brought me comfort, many years. I think my kids were still, they weren't even teenagers yet. And it's 2 Corinthians 1:3-4. And it says, "Blessed be God, even the Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, the Father of mercies and the God of all comfort, who comforteth, I don't feel like I got a lisp, who comforteth us in all our tribulation, that we may be able to comfort them which are in any trouble by the comfort wherewith we ourselves are comforted of God. That verse has shown me that whatever I'm going through, whatever God has allowed in my life, whatever path God's allowed me to go down, experience, it's a promise from Him that He's going to give me the comfort to get through it. But it's a promise, but it's also instruction that we pass on. So I hope that you find comfort in the sweet memories you have with your loved one, comfort in resting in the Lord, and in the things that you need to do. Take the pressure off yourself. You don't have to perform. You don't have to show up with your Santa hat and a smile on your face. But if you're going through a loss, your family's probably going through it too. And I know for me, one of the things that keeps me going is I know they're already hurting, and I don't want to cause them more hurt. So I'm doing my best to do my best. And so even if it's all you can muster is just to show up, even in your pajamas, in your cozy pajamas. Let them hug you, hug them. We're going to get through this season. We are. If there's any thought that I could leave you with, I think it would be focus on the real reason why we celebrate Christmas. I mean, I know we can get into all the calendar dates and all that, but Jesus came to earth to be born, to be our Savior. And I know for me in years past, it's real easy to get so busy, so caught up in all the other stuff, all the sparkle and glitter and gifts and all that, that we forget about the real gift. And so for me, putting some emphasis on that this year, drawing closer to the Lord, because He's going to be the one that gives us all comfort, all the strength, and all the joy. So, have a beautiful day, my friend, and Have a Merry Christmas.